Out of all the things that are going on right now, Biden investigations, Trump investigations, alien disclosures, the Ukraine war, what's going on in Maui is probably pissing me off more than anything else. I cannot believe that I'm alive and witnessing even remotely similar behavior to what was done to the Native Americans in this country. And I know a lot of people don't think about this on a regular basis, but we displaced these people. We learned about the Trail of Tears. We learned about the massacres done by the Army in the West after the Civil War was concluded. That was their next taming the West and these savages that were, harming white people. This was the biggest issue. We didn't even look at them as human beings because they weren't Christian. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, if I was going to make a guess, I would say that the rich people look at poor people the same way that white people in the 1800s looked at Indians. Not human. Not deserving of fair, equal treatment. Not worthy of being helped. Just worthy of being a target of manipulation, a target to take things from, so that we can have more. These people, and I mean, choose for yourself whether you believe the information we're going to see in this video, because it's horrendous, in my opinion. But what you can't deny is that these people have plenty already. Oprah doesn't need any more. None of these rich people need any more. Even if they want land in Hawaii, go buy another fucking island. Plenty of islands in the Pacific. But that's not the way they think. They think that they deserve it. And it's absolutely disgusting. And only if we come together. We have no power. As individual pores, we have no power. Our power only comes if we can find it within ourselves to say we need to come together to stop evil and wrongs in the world. We want to leave this place better than we found it. And if you don't want that, then why don't even bother watching this video? Because if you don't care, don't waste your time.
We couldn't even have our pastor come in and ask us if we need prayer in the very beginning, but Oprah could come in. Who is she? Who is she? They said, oh, she knows the governor.
Maui.
We didn't need her in there in Bowen High. Get her out.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. So it's amazing how the people who try and act the most virtuous and who virtue signal the very most, the ones who are the most...
Yeah, this applies to the whole trans LGBTQ movement, right? They're so acceptance and consent and all these things that are hugely important, and then they're extremely hypocritical about them because no one has ever asked if the rest of us want to go along with this. No one has ever had a conversation. It's just been online harassment. It's been cancel culture. It's been screaming and yelling matches if you don't conform and comply. It is like totalitarian shithole type behavior, right? It's not American. It's not American to tell other people how to think and how to behave. What's American is if you've got a good idea that would make the fucking world better, to bring it to the masses and let them decide for themselves. You present the merits of your argument, the merits of your movement, and you say, this is what we need to move forward as a people. This is what we need to make the lives of our children better. And I can unequivocally tell you that further consolidation, because you've got global corporations that are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger till they're bigger than any government. That's the trajectory we're on. The globalization of corporations while governments still stay national, it's not going to work out long term, because these companies are going to be able to operate in all markets globally. Nations only control a little piece, just a little piece of land over here, piece of land over here, a little bit of money flowing in over here. You know, once they get big enough, if one of these countries, if their service is like, let's say, you know, Facebook, for example, let's say that becomes almost essential at some point. They roll in finance, they roll in communication, they roll in basically everything, an all-in-one application, everything from finances, communication, you get your information from it, you watch your entertainment, everything's there. And then a government has a problem with their behaviors. Well, you eventually swap the balance of power so that Facebook is like, no, please don't kick us out. Eventually, if you let them get big enough, this is why Jack Ma, the Alibaba executive, when he started talking a little bit of shit toward the communist government in China, disappeared for 6 months, because they don't give a shit how many billions of dollars they got. They'll kill you. You better fall in line or we'll kill you. And so if you get to the point where you let these tech companies get so big that they control everything, you lose the power to kick them out, because they're a critical asset. So you kick them out, you lose access, and all your people lose access to something that's become a critical part of their day. You become hostage. And if you don't fucking believe me, then again, don't do shit, don't care, don't bring it up, don't talk to other people about the idea that, you know, the end result of the unmitigated, unregulated capitalist system is one company. And the only reason that gets stopped is because of the monopoly laws. But if you can't stop it, if you can only stop it in your country and you can't get other countries to work together to regulate this global monopoly, it's the same idea as the poor people trying to affect change against the rich and powerful, right? Our government becomes the poor person who has no power. I mean, you got a military. I'll give them that. We better keep that around because we might need it. But I mean, these companies could get large enough where they just start spending money. Who knows how the laws could be reformed with enough money and influence and corruption. Maybe Blackwater could become bigger than the American military, you know, like with enough money. And again, Blackwater's not that big, but I'm saying if an entity like Amazon, who's got over $1 trillion market cap, continues to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, they just suck in more companies. They're just buying innovation at this point. Ever since Steve Jobs passed away, they haven't really brought anything new or revolutionary to the table. We'll see how these VR glasses go, if these are a hit or not. I mean, I'm already starting to try to think about how to produce VR content as well. But it's just not a good trajectory. And you see the corruption at this level. Let it get even more consolidated. Put the power in even fewer hands. That's the direction we're headed, is less and less opportunity for those that want to get in, and more opportunity for those with inordinate revenue streams, sitting on cash, wondering what to buy next, just starting to buy shit just because they don't want to sit on cash. Inflation is shitting on their cash pile, so they're buying any sort of assets that they can get just to get out of cash, because cash is bullshit. And if you don't think it is, why are so many people not sitting on cash, right? Nobody sits on cash. No one smart and rich sits on cash. They put it in the bond market, they put it in stocks, they put it in commodities, they put it in real estate, farmland, oil, fucking anything except for cash. Because cash loses, it's planned to lose 3% every year. That's built in. So your interest doesn't even, now it does, but prior to, having a 3+% interest rate, your interest doesn't even keep the cash at the level it should be at. And the reality is that the inflation has been higher than the interest rate even as we've been raising it. So anyway, I'll shut up.
Generous, and the ones who are the most caring are actually the biggest villains in our society.
That's how they hide.
Let me introduce you to somebody named
sight.
Oprah. Yeah, here's Oprah. You all saw her mewling, disgusting video demanding that everyone donate to Maui so they can save her favorite little drinking spots and vacation place. Do you know that Oprah, after all of this PR, has received, look at that number, $4,000 That's what's been raised. 95 donors.
95 too many.
Look at that. Now, this is directly from TikTok. Oprah is a
2.5 billion. She donated 5 million. So if I'm doing my math right, if you've got, let's get back to this.
A fraud. Oprah is a liar. Oprah made that video because there were headlines like this that were starting to trickle out. Oprah was forced to make that video demanding that you funnel your money to a couple of billionaires so they could decide what to do with it, so they could save their favorite vacation spot. Ladies and gentlemen, because she was panicking. Oprah silent amid Maui fires as desperate Hawaii residents beg for celebrity billionaires to help. Well, why are they begging Oprah to help specifically? Oh, because Oprah owns like half of Maui. Look at this article. This article here from March 2023. Oh, that's interesting. So this article is from just this spring. Oprah snaps up 870 acres on Hawaiian Island for $6.6 million on top of the 100 she already owns, amid anger from locals that says the mega rich are pricing her out.
Let me put this in perspective for you, okay? She has 2.8 billion, but let's just call it 2.5. So if you're an American who has $25,000 in your savings account, not only are you 5 times the national average is around $5,000. But the equivalent amount that you would give relative to her massive wealth and her $5 million gift, if you have $25,000 in the bank, you would give a $50 donation. So if you have $25,000 in the bank and you want to match her donation, you could send $50. If you have $2,500, you could send $5. That would be an equivalent contribution to her pool of wealth, the portion of it that she gave. So pretty pathetic, right? She could do a lot better than $50 or $5. You know, that's a joke to her. $50, I don't even think it would be worth her energy to bend over and pick $50 up.
Oprah, who's 70 years old, owns 1,000 acres on the Paradise Island in Hawaii. Her latest purchase cost $6.6 million. Well, that's interesting because Oprah only gave $5 million to the People's Fund of Hawaii. Now, I say only because she's worth $3.5 billion. That means she gave less than 0.02% of her net worth. But Oprah gave a lot more money in order to buy thousands of acres of land, nearly 1,000 acres of land. And, of course, she's doing important renovations on her private property there. And here's Oprah grinning like an absolute monster as she buys up all of the land that could be used to house the people who lost their homes in the fire. Has Oprah offered to house?
What I've heard is she had private firefighters, and then after they protected her home, then she hired private security to keep the poor people off her unburnt lawn. So that's just a barometer. And the other thing I just want to say is I'm a landlord, okay? I've been a landlord for 10 years. I've been alive for 38. I understand how money is made, and I understand that I'm probably never going to be rich because during the time that I've owned my property, my tenant's rent should have doubled. But looking at the cost of rent and being at the mercy of the same system, I do not feel good about gouging and taking someone who's been very good to me, been an excellent tenant, and just absolutely turning the screw as hard as I can. So I have raised my rent, but I'm not absolutely taking it to the mat like someone who's a billionaire would do with absolutely everything, right? You can't just, the money comes from somewhere. The money comes from other people's pockets. Like, it's not like she's just getting government contracts, or any of these rich people are just getting money straight from the government. Even if they're providing value, if they're billionaires, they're probably providing value, and then charging the most that they possibly can because they want to get as rich as possible. So I do not believe being a good person and being rich are not mutually exclusive, but I believe that it is very difficult to be a good person and be a billionaire. You can have some money and you can be very comfortable and be a good person. But to be a billionaire, I mean, the difference between 1,000,000 seconds and 1 billion seconds is some crazy amount of time. Like most people can't even conceptualize 1 billion, let alone 2, 3, 100. It's unfathomable wealth. It's not like billions is where conceptualizing the quantity becomes just absolutely worthless. You can't, normal human brains can't do it. Can't wrap your mind around it. I mean, maybe if you're an idiot savant or something, but average people just have no concept of how much money that actually is.
Any of the people who lost their homes in a fire on her 1,000 acres that she spent more money on than she gave, than she donated to the people? No. The answer is no. Oprah hasn't done that. In fact, Oprah is facing allegations of stealing resources from the people who needed them the very most while the fires were burning, ravaging, and, dare I say, burning children alive, which we know happened. Pets, animals, people.
This is all being suppressed. This is why I'm showing this. You're not seeing this anywhere. I tried to Google some of this stuff. It's very hard to find information about this. It's very hard to find any information about Maui. And again, that's why this pisses me off so much, because it appears that not only is it being handled in a manner that is right on the cusp of complete malfeasance and like prosecutable offenses like manslaughter for handling a crisis that was going to kill people, children, adults, and burn their homes. It's just you can say it's stupidity, you can say it's accidents, you can say, oh, it's coincidence, or you can stop believing in coincidences and starting to say, wow, there's a lot of things here that don't add up. Maybe we should have an impartial party come in and conduct an investigation after they stop locking everybody out except for Oprah. I mean, you couldn't have anybody come into these shelters. Oprah's walking around like she's the king of the island, because she fucking is.
And little children who are trapped. Oprah Winfrey faces accusations of hiring private firefighters to protect her massive estate during the Maui wildfire, thus depleting the resources from the people that actually needed them. Okay, so where do these allegations come from? Let's check in. Now, this is the video that has gone viral and is very interesting. I'm going to play it for you. It's very interesting. This is...
And if you think I'm being ridiculous saying that Oprah is the king of Maui, I want you to think and picture, if you were a billionaire and you wanted to have more control over your environment, the easiest way to do that would be to find an island that was large enough that it had everything that you wanted, but small enough so that you could buy much, much more influence than you could on the mainland U.S. It's an exclusive zone, and the more money you pour into buying more and more land, the more exclusive it becomes, and the less people have access to it, and the more power you have through ownership and investment. So if you think it's ridiculous, I mean, it only makes sense. That's why the billionaires are also going to New Zealand and buying up shitloads of property there, because that is an ecosystem that if there was a revolt, let's say they push things too far, there was a global revolt, rich people were in trouble. New Zealand is a place where they could run and hide in their underground bunkers. There's enough farmland to support the local population. They don't do a lot of imports. They don't do a lot of trading. There's some amount of travel, but during a lockdown emergency situation, like the trial run we had with the invisible boogeyman thing that has the same mortality rate as the flu after it's all said and done, which is what we were saying, and that proved to be a big problem. just for reference, I probably can't say this, so I'm just going to play a clip of someone else saying it on YouTube whose video is still up so that I don't get my shit taken down.
The amount of damage that was done as a result of keeping kids home during lockdowns.
And plus, the CDC in August updated fatality rates for COVID, and it is hovering between 1% and 2%. That's true. Now, the media sort of ran with that and said, oh, has it been this all along? Have we been lied to? What we know is that in August, the fatality rate was between 1% and 2%, meaning between 1% or 2% of people who test positive for COVID will have a rough time, and it could end their lives. Now, is this a proportionate response to something that does now, and I know you were not supposed to say this in the height of the pandemic, but it does now have a fatality rate that equals the flu. So why would we do this?
Well,
This is something we need to ask ourselves.
And also another frustrating thing is there's actually no data supporting that kids can't get through COVID. And there's actual factual data that backs up that the masks and the mandates.
Yeah, so just nonsense. We're going back down another road of control and manipulation and BS, you know? Like, why aren't we doing the same thing for the flu? If the mortality, and I know it's just 1 month, but, you know, it's indicative of a possible larger trend, you know? And there were financial incentives to report the deaths for, you know, you got money if it was related to the emergency. And so what's the facts? You know, I just want the facts. I just want real, unadulterated information that hasn't been tampered with. Give me the numbers. I want to know the numbers, and I want to know whether these were being reported accurately. If they weren't, let's compare them to current data, and let's try to have some integrity in our data collection systems, you know? The easiest way to stop conspiracies is to put out good factual information. And instead, the goal seems to be to just shut everybody the fuck up. Nobody gets to talk about anything. Beautiful. Welcome to America. Have a great time.
A Maui resident, allegedly, who is saying that Oprah, it's a known fact that Oprah hired private firefighters to protect her property.
We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui.
We're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that you somehow managed to hire a private firefighting team to protect your land before the fires started. You're so concerned about what's happening in Maui that instead of taking some of that land and housing even a small portion of those displaced people, you've hired a private security team to keep them off your land. You're so concerned about Maui that you simply haven't had time to denounce any of the shady real estate deals which are robbing people of everything they have, you know, like the ones you were involved in that helped you acquire that land for pennies on the dollar of what it was actually worth. You're so concerned about Maui that instead of taking what would amount to a year's salary for you and 4 or 5 of your billionaire friends, which could be used to rebuild the entire place in a matter of months, you're jumping on social media and asking the American public, most of whom can't afford to pay their rent right now, to do it for you. You're so concerned about Maui that it's more important that you get social media points than that you help.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm showing you that clip in that format right there, I would like to show you the original. You can see that I'm showing you this tweet right here that has 500,000 views and has nearly 10,000 retweets and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, is because that video doesn't exist anymore. So here's the remix of it. We tracked this down. Here's a remix of it. Here's a guy, he's got his account and he remixes stuff, okay? And he's got his little account here and he's remixed this clip. But he tags the original source clip here and, well, it's gone. Apparently this account has gone private. This woman is no longer allowed to speak. So we would love to verify that she, it's very easy to verify that she lives in Maui and that she, a lot of people take TikTok to their home or like where they're living or their dog or walking down the street. You can like verify where people live. Like you can see where they list their home, but you can't see it. It's been deleted. And according to the people that we've spoken with about this audio on TikTok, you can no longer post this audio on TikTok. You're not allowed to post it. So the original post is gone. Her account's gone. Who knows? Maybe she was getting hate, or maybe there's something far worse going on here. And ladies and gentlemen, you're able to see here in like this video
in Maui
from
that
the Rock's
we
post.
were texting back and forth, and
This is from the
I
post
read
from
this
The Rock.
article that.
Check this out. This is from TikTok. You can see The Rock has not even raised $5,000. The Rock has not even raised $5,000. So between him and Oprah, they have less than $10,000 raised for their fundraiser, at least on the TikTok platform. We're showing you right now the swiping through. People are donating, some people, but there's only 118 donors. For a guy who has an audience in the multi-millions, along with Oprah has 22 million followers, that doesn't make any sense. People are calling them out. Now, again, I would love to verify this woman's allegations that Oprah hired private firefighters and security to protect her massive estate in Maui, but I can't. You can see here, you can hear on one of the comments here on TikTok, was her video taken down? It says video not available. One of the commenters, this is the guy who has, I guess, the only remaining video of it online. Yes, and they removed the sound, he says. So that's what's happening here with this video. So apparently they're censoring this woman for making these accusations. Now I'll wait to see if there's further accusation. I mean, listen, if Oprah hired a private fire department or firefighters to protect herself while the entire town of Lahaina is burning and people are burning alive, that's truly evil. You're talking about a true scandal here that will destroy even the likes of Oprah.
Yeah, but how the fuck are we ever gonna find out? They're not letting any information. They're putting up fencing outside the burn area so that the media can't look inside. I had a short video about that. So a reporter was trying to stop and trying to photograph over the fence, and National Guard came, or the police, but someone told him to move along. He couldn't stop and photograph there. Complete information blackout. Other than from sources like this that still get silenced. We don't know the reason. We can't, go to the source and ask more questions. It's not okay. It's not okay to be suppressing information. America works on the concept that information flows here faster and better than anywhere else. That's why we were able to out-innovate everyone else, because everyone else has got these restrictions and bottlenecks. America is just an open pipeline, or it was. And that is one of the number one reasons why this country is going to lose its edge. It is, there's just no way that it's going to keep it. If we can't get information to flow, then we're no better than a communist shithole.
She's done for, if that turns out to be true. So I'd very much like to do more research on this. Here I'm reading to you from the Atlanta Black Star. I would love to know if there's more evidence of this. Here are the things, however, that there are evidence of. One, and we showed you this, Oprah did buy nearly 1,000 acres for $6.6 million. That is really below market. Apparently this happened because of her connections with the governor of Hawaii and the leadership in the island of Hawaii. This is her land right here. This was the purchase of her land. Now, curiously, this was also where the fire started. So what the hell's going on? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right on top of it. I'm saying that it's close, right? Okay, it's close to where the fire started. So she bought this ranch. She bought a ranch in 2003 for $5.3 million. Okay. And then she was able to purchase 870 acres for $6.6 million? What? That don't make no sense. So with all inflation and everything, 20 years later, you're just paying a small fraction more? Oprah's worth billions. Huh? That don't make no sense. Oprah's recent purchase, revealed in sale deeds, means she now owns around 1,000 acres of land in Maui. She reportedly snapped up the new plots in several purchases, 5 120 acre parcel for 3.9 million, 330 acre parcel for 2.74 million, and two 10 acre parcels for $100,000 each. I gotta tell you, that seems pretty low. That seems like a pretty low price. Oprah's land on Maui is also...
And then, I mean, just to show you what the media spins this, you know. So, this article, Causey101.com, I like Oprah and believe that she has done a lot of good for a lot of people. So it's tough when I read the drama surrounding Oprah Winfrey being accused of protecting her Hawaii estate from wildfires. Social media users claim she hired private firefighters to protect her land from the flames. Some TikTok videos claim that Winfrey hired a team before the fires hit and didn't help displace people. Just to give a reference, Oprah has lived in Maui part-time for over 15 years. Then just last week, Oprah and Dwayne Johnson put up $5 million to help Maui residents. Good, right? Do you have a problem with Oprah having the money to hire private firefighters? Does one thing have anything to do with the other? Melissa. Well, Melissa, if she hired them before, and if she hired them during, and they were just on standby on her land, meanwhile children are dying and everybody's losing everything, and the fire's not even at her house, they're just over there on standby, especially if these firefighters were hired from the pool of firefighters on the island, and they otherwise would have been fighting the fire if they weren't financially incentivized to just come sit on her property and make sure everything was good with her property, then yes, I do have a problem with it. I have a big fucking problem with it. Because people fucking died and lost everything. If they died, they don't really care that they lost everything, right? So those are two separate problems. Real estate deals. I watched this and reacted to it, outlining all her land acquisitions, high value land acquisitions. Protect her massive estate during Maui wildfire after requesting donations for displaced victims who lost their homes. Yep. Long been criticized for taking up land ownership in the tourist hotspot. Maui wildfire fundraiser gets called a sham as a TikTok video claims she's hired private security to keep people off her land. Yep. Again, I'm not there, but like I'm not going to disbelieve these people that live there making these claims. I am going to highlight their voices because I don't give a shit about someone with fucking $2.8 billion who wants more land. She can buy more land anywhere. She doesn't need to steal their land from them. And I understand, oh, she's paying fair market value. Well, in a disaster, sometimes people get desperate because they don't have the savings to hold out and make sure that they make it across the finish line and get everything rebuilt. You know, some of these people probably didn't have a lot to begin with, and when everything burned down, supposedly there's also some issue with insurance claim. I don't know, you know, an act of God sometimes is not covered. Sometimes you need specific fire insurance if it's not like a normal house fire. If a wildfire burns your shit and you don't have wildfire insurance, you may not be covered. So, under those circumstances, how are you going to avoid selling? You're broke. Your house burned down. You have nothing. Your only value that you could feed your kids with is to sell your goddamn land to somebody like this, who's not going to give you fair value. They're going to give you as little as they fucking can. How do you think that they got to be billionaires? By being generous and giving away money? No. Let's see. Yep. Most well-armed security force, and then anti-gun stance, right? So her bodyguard's having it. Totally fine. Every restaurant, home, building, arena, etc. has to be cleared before Oprah even arrives to it. It's crazy. She has like 15 armed bodyguards whenever she goes, and a motorcade. For those who are a part of security services, how much does that cost? Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Also believed to include about 100 acres in Hana. So how proud is Oprah of this purchase? Well, on the conspiracy site, Oprah.com, well-known right-wing conspiracy site, she has a glossy spread of how beautiful her home is, along with posing a horse on her house. There you go. She went and got a horse to stand outside. Oprah's Hawaii home, once ordinary little gray ranch that Oprah considered tearing down, is now transformed into a perfect 21st century farmhouse. Yes, that's right. So, looking forward to this. This was a great view for Oprah to observe the fires from, surrounded by private fire department. Presumably, allegedly. Here are these nice photos of Oprah inside of the house. There you go. Oprah inside the home. Boy, time has not been kind to Oprah.
Well,
Too
she's
bad.
70.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest photos that Photoshop can deliver to us. Look at all of the view. You could have seen the fires crystal clear from that vantage, from this Juliet balcony in Oprah's home. Ah, yes. Oprah, the humble farmer. The humble farmer.
Oh, man.
This is why people are pissed at Oprah. Okay? People are angry at Oprah. I mean, can you think of something that looks more distasteful? I know this was published in 2021, but looks more distasteful than this. From Oprah Daily. How many websites are based on Oprah? How many websites does Oprah own? Take a sneak peek at Oprah's Hawaii bounty. It's bountiful indeed. Look at that. This is Oprah's farm. Certainly. There you go. Okay, there you go.
All
Any of that
let's jump ahead. I don't
food
really care about
has been
this.
donated to the people who lost their lives and animals and children in Lahaina? Well, you allegedly had a private fire department at your place? Just asking questions. Just asking questions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, people are pretty pissed off at Oprah, including one of the residents who lost everything, who called out Oprah and said that she demands that Oprah get out of Hawaii.
Yep.
Based Christina went and gave a bit of a lecture to Oprah at a town council meeting. Have a listen.
It's Christine Borge. I guess you could say I'm a kapuna. I was living on 1A Street when it happened. I walked away with nothing except my dog. First we were in Maui prep. They passed out toilet paper because they wouldn't let us use the bathroom. I guess we look like leprosy people to them in our dark skin. Then we went to Baldwin High. Now I'm at Royal Lahaina. We need help because we're being told by people from the mainland who are culturally insensitive, you're telling us to fill out this paperwork so that you can give us the least amount of money. And I want to know when we get to go back to our home in Wainea. Maybe it's gone, but for reasons that I don't want to discuss, we need to go back there. Are you guys going to just scrape it all away and say disaster zone? And America's going to get what they want, their satellite city? Because this was planned years ago.
Yep.
We couldn't even have our pastor come in and ask us if we need prayer in the very beginning, but Oprah could come in.
Yep.
Who is she? Who is she? They said, oh, she knows the governor. We didn't need her in there in Bowen High. Get her out. We don't know. We also don't need people like Kainashiki telling tourists don't come to Maui. Because some of us, thousands of us, work in the hotel industry. They pay our mortgage. They give us our medical. Tourists come. We love you. We have aloha. You have gave us money through your donations. We're not saying don't come. Come. Because you will be helping us, the lower people. The grains of sand of Maui is what we are. We're not the ones living up in Laniapoku. Not one of those houses burned. Puamana is still there. Lahaina Shores is still there. Everything beyond the Civic Center is there, but the homes where we were working, where we were scraping, where we had less than $1,000 a month to pay for our basic needs of gas and food. We busted our and this is what we get. Nobody called us. Our phones didn't work from 5 in the morning. The fire was not 10 o'clock when I went to work. The fire was still there. There was no water. Tell me if that's coincidence. No water, no warning, and everybody talking about the satellite city before the fire. Lahaina going to be the first satellite city. Well, hey, Jeff Bezos, you got what you wanted. Oprah, you got what you wanted. And the guy who owns the nut, you got what you wanted. That's all over. That's what happened. Okay. We need help in Lahaina. Who's going to come now and ask us, can I pray for you, Auntie?
Thank you.
Can I help you with your paperwork? Because all we got so far was $700.
Oh, man. It is something that continues to infuriate me that no information, these people still can't return to their homes. No official information that is decent and explains all the things that went wrong. Not notifying the parents that their children were home and school had been canceled, so that the parents didn't know that they needed to go home to make sure that they rescued their kids who didn't know how to get out of the fire. Apparently there was a boy found in his home, in his bedroom, and he'd been burned alive with his dog. And my suspicion is that due to the way that the events unfolded, the reason that they are not allowing Maui residents to go back to their homes is because the scene is so horrific. And the loss of human life is so devastating that they don't want it covered. They don't want cameras in that area. Like she said, they're probably just going to fucking bulldoze it and act like, I don't know, never happened. Are these kids going to get their, if they are deceased, are the parents going to get their bodies, their remains? Or are they going to be so insensitive that they are going to just bulldoze things under and just bulldoze these houses with burn victims, potentially, nearly nothing left, just bulldoze it into the ground? I don't know. Nobody knows because they won't give us any information. All we get is The Rock and Oprah begging for donations when they've got so much goddamn money. They have there's 156,000 people on Maui, just to give you a frame of reference. Those two have $20,000 per person. That's total residents. That's not the people affected by this. They have 20,000 per person on the entire island. And it's way more than these people have saved up themselves. So two people have so much money. And it reminds me of the Batman quote with Bane in it, where Catwoman said something along the lines of, "You had the audacity to live with so much and leave so little for the rest of us. How did you not think that this was going to happen?" Watching that just the other night, I was like, Batman was created in a time where billionaires were very rare. I think Rockefeller. There weren't very many billionaires in 1938 or whenever Batman was created. And of course, it was so rare that one of them would become a superhero. Having billions of dollars is like almost a superpower back in those days. Well, now we've got thousands of billionaires in the world, I believe, and none of them have turned into Batman. They all seem to be leaning more toward the Joker or any of the villains than some sort of hero. 1939 Batman was invented, so not a lot of billionaires back then. And clearly we can see that billionaires are not a force of good. They're in a lot of cases a magnet for terrible things happening to people around them. As we saw in another video where Oprah also had a fire next to her house in another area.
Did you know Oprah Winfrey has been securing Maui land like it's a trending bestseller? In just 2023, she invested in a vast 520-acre plot for $3.89 million, then went for another 330 acres at $2.47 million, not to mention the two 10-acre patches she bought in 2022 for $100,000 each. From a mere 100 acres in Maui, Oprah now commands over 1,000 acres. But here's the twist. Amidst this real estate surge, a sudden fire happens, destroying homes nearby, but leaving her vast terrains unscathed. Does that ring a bell? Think back to 2017. A deadly fire consumed homes near her Montecito mansion. Yet once again, Oprah's property emerged untouched. And after that event, she expanded her Montecito land holdings to a whopping 70 acres.
Say what you want about being poor, but I've been to rich people's houses and I've heard them talk about people building and ruining my view on my $1 million home. So I can't imagine what billionaires do. Maybe burn.
Did you know?
I mean, you can believe in coincidences if you want, but I think you're just deceiving yourself. Anyway, thank you for sticking around. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned some things, and I'll see you in the next one.